I would like to share my story of how I came to the United States legally and obtained a permanent resident card. I did things the lawful way, and after hearing my story of how complicated this process is, you might see why others take a different path. I do not condemn people coming to this country illegally, but I hope my experience can help shed some light on discussions regarding immigration reform. When I moved to the US, I moved with a dream of learning English. Contrary to the popular belief that I floated across the Gulf of Mexico in a cooler, I traveled to California with a tourist visa. With this visa, I was able to stay for a short period of time before returning to my home country of Mexico. I applied for English classes only for short periods so that I would be able to learn a little bit without staying past the expiration date of my visa. After the first semester of English classes, I decided that I needed to continue learning. So I went back home to Mexico before returning to the US for the next semester under another tourist visa. Later, I decided that I was not ready to leave the US, so I applied to change my tourist visa to a student visa. Depending on the school you want to attend, there is a department that helps you with this process. Since my English was getting much better, I decided to apply for undergraduate classes at community college. The community college walked me through the process of obtaining my student visa. During the time that I studied at the community college with this visa, I was not allowed to work. I was only allowed to do unpaid internships and work on some projects within the school. While getting more confident in my English ability, I decided to transfer from my community college to a 4-year university, where I could continue pursuing a career in communications. I applied to different institutions and I was accepted by all of them. However, I did not have sufficient funds due to not being allowed to work. Many blessings came from my dedication to following the law as I granted a full scholarship at a private university. I continued studying under my international student visa. During that time, despite my financial hardships, I had a support team that included my family and friends. Though there were times when I did not have food to eat, I continued to stick to my goal of obtaining an undergraduate degree. While working on my degree, I was fortunate enough to be able to do internships. This provided great experience despite being unpaid. The time passed and I graduated from an American university and I was fully bilingual, trilingual if you count Spanglish. After graduation, I was granted a work permit, again called OPT. This allows you to work for a few months in your field of study after graduation. However, this was the summer of 2008 when the global economy decided to make bye-bye hands, so I found myself unable to take full advantage of my work permit. Understandably, no one wanted to hire an individual with a work permit that only allows short-term employment.
Months before her work permit expired, Ira had a blessed proposal. Her boyfriend of 2 years, me, asked her to get married. Despite the stress and uncertainty of our future, she was bolstered by my love and support. And well, I was bolstered by the fact that, despite being a white boy of Irish descent, we would one day bring a Mexican child into this world who would call me Papi. Sometimes it's the little things that keep you going. When we got married, though she was granted a work permit, it was still not permanent, and trying to find a job after the market crashed continued to be a challenging endeavor. It seemed like all doors were closed. After a year, Ira finally obtained her permanent resident card. Now, U.S. immigration puts you through a process to ensure that your marriage to a U.S. citizen is legitimate. This process makes stress levels very high, being both mentally and physically draining on the individual. The USCIS agents literally ask you questions that you would never know after 7 decades of marriage, much less 7 months. Sometimes I have trouble remembering my own name, much less which side of the drawer the brown socks are on. And after going through this interview process, we had to look at our marriage certificate again just to make sure we were still married. However, we persevered and Ira was granted her permanent resident card. It took her 14 years to achieve her goal of learning English, getting her degree, and becoming a permanent resident. Thanks to her support team, she was able to overcome many obstacles, and while we passed through times of hunger, she had the satisfaction of achieving a goal that she had set a long time ago. Should she have done anything differently, or chosen a different path towards reaching her goal? Should she have stopped and simply returned to the country to start from scratch? Did her health deteriorate while trying to reach these challenging goals? Was it a waste of energy and time? Was it worth it to follow the law and work so hard to learn English, using up her 20s in the process? Ultimately, we both think it was worth it.
Somehow, I try to envision myself doing it differently, trying to move the puzzle pieces around to find another way. Up until now, I can tell you that the satisfaction of following the process and laws that has been put in place for immigration has been rewarding. For many, this could be considered ridiculous given the potential work experience, financial resources, and youth that has been sacrificed as a result of following the law to the letter. To be honest, I still believe that the path that I choose will give me more satisfactions and rewards. I can tell you that I will do it again even if it costs me more years of my life. The point is not for me to judge how I choose to live my life, or how others live their lives. Everyone has a story that makes them follow certain steps. So why do I bother telling you my story? Because sometimes the only way for someone to comprehend the actions of others is to demonstrate with the use of examples. Your story, my story, or any story can be used as a potential tool for growth, and it is important to analyze and take into account all sides of the equation. The laws set forth by any country should be followed and no abuse. Perhaps I am a dreamer, as the abuse of law for personal gain is all too common. I want to believe that just like myself, many others can follow these steps to reach a goal that teach them to never give up and to take all life challenges as an opportunity to grow. However, as many great mentors have told me, it is not always the final destination, but the journey itself that is most rewarding. I am looking forward to where mine takes me next.